All right, yo, welcome. It is Ryan from Farmlands, and you are here at my bench, and we're going to be doing my first official review on the HGLRC Race Whoop 30 frame and the motors that they recommend to go with that, which is the geez, I can't pronounce this right. It's really getting me, but the Aeolus. Is it Aeolus? I hope that's right. These are the 2105.5 3600 kVs. I have not reviewed the flight footage from the maiden flight of this, but we're going to get into that after we talk about this for a bit. Let's start with my first impressions of the flight. Incredibly stable. So what I ended up doing, HGLRC sent me this frame, and they sent me the motors and the propellers, and I basically just took everything else out of my Green Hornet. It's it's nothing but an empty shell. Anyway, I popped all that stuff in here, and I didn't even change the tune. I didn't change anything. I just made sure our motors were going in the right direction, blah blah blah, and I sent it. And there was no issues, absolutely zero. It flew, I want to say, flawlessly. I couldn't really find an issue. It was a little bit breezy out, and that would have just presented all kinds of problems for my Green Hornet. It would have been having throttling issues and trying to stay stable, and I have no idea what is wrong with the geometry of the Green Hornet frame, but whatever. Popped everything into this, and all my troubles literally disappeared. It's really good in the wind. I don't know if the contour has something to do with it not getting pushed as much, but I don't feel like it gets pushed as much. The other thing is when I want to drop throttle, it actually just does what it's supposed to, what I expect it's going to do. When I did that on my Green Hornet, it used to just, I don't know, it wouldn't, it's almost like it didn't respond for a full second, and then it would gradually start to go down. Or sometimes if it was too windy, you'd throttle down and it would throttle up. And I don't know, I could never figure out why it did that. I did so much to try and tune that stuff out, and it was really only any good to me indoors where there was no wind. But then again, if it ran into issues close to a wall, it would get its own prop wash issues and blah blah blah. So anyways, this thing flew amazing out there, and now I know that the frame is supposed to be indestructible, or relatively indestructible for the weight that it's carrying. However, I didn't put that to the test, and I'm not going to, for the simple fact that I will inevitably crash it at some point, and I want to preserve whatever crashability this thing has for the actual crashes that I'm going to end up in, instead of, and then I'll report on that, instead of deliberately crashing and potentially wrecking other stuff. I guess it's the elephant in the room we need to talk about. HGLRC did an incredibly intuitive job of designing this frame. Incredibly intuitive. It's very good. It's very strong, and there's a reason why it's very strong. Not only are these pieces injection molded, I'm sorry guys, I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time beating around the bush here. I want the whole review to be positive, but in all honesty, I can't. There's one little bit of a negative strike, and it's a negative that needs to be. Unfortunately, it has. I feel like there isn't a whole lot of ways around the negative, and it's just got to be something you got to deal with. But this thing is a level 10. 10 out of 10 in skill set for putting a frame together. I'm not gonna lie. I've put tons of frames together. I've built my own frames. I have designed my own frames, and I have modified my own carbon frames. And this frame, I'm going to see if we can get a good close up here. I hope you can see right in there how the two duct pieces fit together. Let me just get this to the light proper. There we go. So they fit into each other like kind of like a puzzle piece. You can see that one side is different from the other, and they fit in there together. And then your screw goes down through both of them, kind of like a hinge, and it locks them in there together. And then it screws into the nut on the bottom. That's awesome. That couldn't be any better designed for strength, and it's all like that. All 4 spots are like that. The problem with that is you can't, like on your basic, let's just use your basic X frame for example. Let's actually even use this Cinewoop frame for example. You can build all of your electronics inside, and then you can move on to the next step and complete the drone. Put the rest of the pieces on top, screw it together, and Bob's your uncle, you have a drone. Now, when you can't really do that with this, because you got to mount your motors inside these cups. These cups, they're independent of each other when they're taken apart. So, you know, one's over here, one's over here. You know, they're completely spread out. So you can mount your motors up inside. But then you kind of have to mock up the build so that you can measure out your motor wires to the ESC while it's kind of just sitting there floating on the base plate. You kind of have these things. You could go and put screws in it and screw everything together without the top plate just for the purpose of, I don't know, maybe routing your wires. But then you will have to take it completely apart again to finish everything. To be able to put the top plate on, you'll have to take all these things apart again, and then put the top plate on, and then put everything back through the top plate, and then back into the channels that fit together. And to be able to do that, you kind of got to hold the whole thing together, or at least half of it together, while you get a pin set. And setting that pin is not easy. It's not easy. It's just not easy. Maybe it wasn't meant to be easy. Maybe this is the sacrifice you got to make for the robust quality of this frame, because let me tell you, it's rock solid. Rock solid. But it was the most cumbersome thing to put together. And then this back piece here fits over top of everything. So your last pin actually has to go through a whole bunch of other stuff on here, which is basically your last step. You got to hold that on there. I had to make a modification for this style of the style of mount. It didn't have that, so I basically took my soldering iron and I melted a hole through it, and there you go. Bob's your uncle. We've got a nice. And it works really well. It holds the antenna very good. So I've got my crossfire mounted up in there. I was very happy. Very happy with that. Very intelligent thinking on the frame design. The motors are more than powerful enough. And they're ultra smooth. So it'll be interesting to see what the footage looks like. Yo, what's up? It's your boy Ryan from Farmlands. And this is my official review video for the HGLRC RaceWhoop 30 frame and motors. I've got the Alias motors, I think I said that right, installed on there. I've got this whole thing put together with my internals, and we're gonna run it with a session 4 because this thing, I believe, is gonna be pretty stable. So I think the footage will be decent enough with a session 4. So I'm pretty excited to give this a test go. because I'm not sure how many of you have tried to put one of these together, but it is an experience level 10. But first, let's see how it flies. Session is ready. GoPro is ready. And I'm ready. Whoops, we almost got it. That was really good. That was really cool. So that's it for my review of the Race Whoop 30 from HGLRC. I'm going to get into talking more about the motors during a motor review on the motors that they sent me for my 5-inch. So that'll be a completely separate review from the frame. But there's quite a bit to be said about the motor design coming from HGLRC too. Things that I have complained about with other motor companies, I'm not having to worry about with these motors. And I think they're going to end up lasting a really long time. So that, I don't know. I definitely support the company, and I will be doing so. And I was a supporter before I even got any of this nice promotional stuff from them. But hey, guys, if you're watching, and I know you are, keep them coming. You got a new flight controller out there? Please send it, because I need one. Peace.